Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Pleasantly Positive Show, where we take a look back on our week and just try to highlight some of the positive moments that left a good impact on us. As well as we're going to be covering some good news stories in a segment that I like to call Positive Press. Sorry, I should really write down an intro instead of trying to memorize it every time. Uh, I am your host, Savvy, and with me today I have Dreamdeaver, or Pete. Hello.
Hello. How's it
How,
going?
I'm good. How are you today?
Doing good.
Good, good.
Nice relaxed weekend.
Was it for you? What did your weekend look like?
So my weekend looked like making plans to deeply clean my apartment and then abandoning those plans yesterday to sit around and play video games instead. Uh,
Nothing wrong with that. What did you end up playing?
so they gave away on Epic, they gave away a Deus Ex game, Deus Ex
Oh, I saw that.
Humankind or something like that, or Mankind Revolution or something like that. I have no idea. So that was a sequel to another one that they had put out. So I bought the other one for $2, and I started playing it on Steam, and it's pretty good. It has surprised me a little bit. I am
Mhm.
coming to terms a little bit, and starting this week with playing games. And this might sound a little pathetic, but like on easy mode, just because my attention span gets split
Yeah,
so quickly that I will get bored with the game, and I just want to barrel through it sometimes. So,
I don't
uh,
think there's anything wrong with that. I, I think it's like the classic games are meant to be played to have fun.
yeah,
So if you
yeah,
have it on, even if it's on like normal or hard, and it's just like you're just not having fun because you keep dying or something, like turn it on
right.
easy. Like it's for your it's for your experience, not anybody else's.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And sometimes you just want like a little bit of a power trip. Like you just
True,
want to go through and
true.
destroy without having to worry about the challenge of it. So,
hmm That's
so
why I
yeah, it's
love
pretty
I love Crackdown games because of that. I'm trying to think of a game where like I have a real power trip and like Crackdown, I just feel like a god going through the city.
Matt and I played Crackdown 3 years ago. I think when it came to Game Pass, it
hmm
was right when we started our channel and started like recording stuff. And I don't know if we recorded that full or if we have like a recording of that full playthrough, but it was just a lot of us picking people up and throwing them into other crowds of people,
Yeah,
just bowling with humans.
I have a lot of good memories. I haven't actually played three yet. I put it on my list of games to play,
Okay.
but I have a lot of hours in the first and second Crackdown of just it's just doing the most random stuff, picking up cars and chucking them
Yeah, yeah.
across the map.
I think those are free on Xbox now. Like when you
hmm
go through the list of free games, they just made them free, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I need to
Um,
try them out at some point.
have you haven't played the older ones?
No, not at
Oh
all.
man, yeah, no. Two is probably. I guess I haven't played three, so I can't speak. But two is my favorite out of the first two that I've played so far. It's just a solid. It's just a solid game for when it came out.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what does your weekend look like?
Oh dear, what did I do this weekend? Uh, it was mostly just playing games. I think that's all I really did. I worked both Friday and Saturday morning. And then I think I just played games Friday and last night, of course. So yeah, just playing games with friends. That's all I've done today. I'm hoping after
That's better
after
than
the
me.
show I might go work out, but we'll see. We'll see how we'll see if that comes into fruition.
That's what I keep. I used to be really diligent about going to the gym and stuff like that, and I have just dropped it over the past year. It's been every day I think I should go, and then when I get off work, I think no chance. I'm going
Yeah,
home.
it's like, man, I'm tired. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like I don't have an excuse, but I feel like in my head I'm gonna take a shower after this, and then I'll be like, well, I just showered. I can't go get sweaty now, even though I always shower before the gym anyway.
yeah.
Well, heck yeah. So I ask everybody this, and even though you told me earlier, what are you drinking this morning, for your little morning pick me up?
I have a Dunkin' iced coffee. I live across from a gas station, and I went over there and I got a coffee and a croissant, this like packaged
Oh,
croissant with strawberry and vanilla filling, and it was good. It was
I've never seen a stuffed croissant before. Now that I think about it. Oh no, I've had a chocolate croissant. Never mind, like a
okay.
Starbucks chocolate croissant.
Yeah, yeah. It was good. Not a huge croissant guy. I think they're too bready, but
Yeah. The
it
dough's
was
not very it's not very sweet at all. It's like it's just bread.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You need like the sweet coating on it.
The coffee, is it, did I see, is it just black?
It's mocha. What's
Oh, okay.
like
Okay.
sweet
I was about to say
chocolatey.
just a bottled black iced coffee. I don't know about that one. That seems a bit rough.
Yeah, no, I can't do black coffee because it like I don't terribly like hate the taste as it's going down, but the burps later on will I'm
Mm.
like "Bleh."
You're,
Like it's yeah,
I never
just
really
tasting
thought
it afterwards.
I never thought about if I get burpy after coffee. After coffee, I usually get sleepy, and of course, my stomach gets upset. I don't know if I get burpy. I'll have to keep an eye out as the show goes on if I get a little burpy.
Just no pros to drinking it at all.
No,
Sleepy and stomach upset.
no, it curbs the headache that I get from not drinking it, and that's about it.
Okay. Is that what you're drinking this morning?
Yep, yep. Just coffee with some powdered creamer and some sweet and low, and I opted
Okay.
for my usual instant coffee of late, Folgers.
Nice. Yeah, if someone asked me to make a pot of coffee, I think I would be totally lost. I've only bought the like prepackaged
Really,
kind. Yeah.
really.
I
Okay.
can make it in like a Keurig, but I feel like that's not
I
really an improvement.
I hate Keurig coffee. I'm not gonna lie. It's not even that it tastes bad. I just like I can't get the amount that I want, and it's like, well, you can just set the setting to higher, but it's like, but the extraction's not the. I used to work at a coffee place, so it bothers me. But even then, I'm sitting here using instant coffee right now, so I can't really talk.
Yeah, you worked at Starbucks, right?
Yep, yep. For a good, that was my first job, actually, and it was fun.
How long did you work there?
2.5 years. Yeah,
Okay.
2.5 years, and then I also did another 8 months at like another location, separate job. But the first one was a Starbucks inside a Target, and then years down the line, a couple years down the line, I also worked at a standalone for 8 months. So
Okay.
yeah. Oh boy. Well, uh, are you ready to get into our weekly look back of some positive moments?
Yeah, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Excited.
I think I'll start just because I don't have too much. It's just a slow week more than it was a bad week. My none of my I didn't really get out much this week, so I guess I'll start with some of mine.
Sounds
uh, yeah. So for my first one, my cousin had a baby, uh,
Oh,
and
congratulations. That's awesome. Congrats to
yeah,
your cousin.
I've never. I don't know. Babies always scare me, especially when they're newborn, and they're just so tiny, and and like, and I think more often than not, just to make sure that they're good after they're born, they go to like a certain like care room, and they get a couple things attached to them just to make sure everything's all right. And I hate seeing that. I remember seeing my nephew. Well, he was like attached to like all the different cords and everything, and he was fine. Like he was fine.
Yeah.
They're just like making sure that he's good, but I'm just like, I hate this. I don't know. but it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's so cool, and they named him Frank. And anytime that somebody like messages me about him, I just say Fwank. Like my my uncle sent me a picture of him, and I just replied with Fwank. And I don't know, it just makes me happy. So I'm very
Yeah,
happy
that's
for my
awesome.
cousin.
So that's your second cousin then, right? Like that's
Yeah,
uh, the hierarchy of cousins that goes second cousin.
I guess that would be, this it feels so weird. I usually think of second cousins and as like, usually it's like an upwards path kind of thing, but this is kind of extending down into the family tree.
Yeah, it almost feels like a niece or nephew type situation because of the age gap. But
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I'm always confused by that kind of like terminology, like cousins twice removed and stuff like that. I have no
that
idea.
I don't understand that at all. I've heard that a couple times. I'm just like, I don't, what?
Yeah,
do you, so
twice removed, like divorced twice and you got back together, or like
yeah, or is it twice removed from your main family? Like, bloodline.
Oh, you know what? That, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there are
S-
two separations, kind of.
Maybe
I think I
so.
know.
Like my uncles. Yeah, I don't know. It's beyond me. The whole family tree
Yeah,
thing is so beyond me. My grandma does like the genealogy ancestry.com stuff. She'll be on there like 8 hours a day, like full-time job type of stuff.
yeah, yeah. When people get into that stuff, they really get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Genealogy was a big part of the like. My family did a lot of genealogy when we were growing up, and I haven't really seen that much of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm interested in it.
Every once in a while, my grandma will like get on a kick where like she'll drop it for a year, then she'll pick it up for a few months, and so any phone call that you have with her, she's like, "I was just finding out that, we're related to John F. Kennedy through 20 different cousins," and and I'm like, "Okay, that's pretty neat." And uh, I think that I'm related to Booker T. Washington. I believe I remember my grandma saying that. Uh, again, that could be hearsay. But
That's
I,
awesome.
I I remember her saying that, and that's why she took me to the in Virginia. There's like a Booker T. Washington, uh, like state, not a park, but it's like a like Booker T. Washington's home. It's just like a little I don't know what to call it, but I don't know what to call it. But it's like it's just where Booker T. Washington grew up.
Okay, like an
Yeah,
estate, kind of.
yeah, kind of, but it's not really an estate because slavery. But yeah,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, that's awesome. That's some cool history. I don't think we have any like famous people in our lineage. I
I'm
know
sure
that.
somewhere you might have
Yeah,
something.
maybe like somewhere deep in there.
It's 8 times removed somewhere.
There's a like a pencil company in Germany that we're slightly related to. I think like there's a big. We have Papermate. Apparently, Germany has Faber. And
Faber, that's a cool name.
yeah, I can't confirm or deny any of that though. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
just what I'm hearing
Mm-hmm.
from family
Yeah.
members.
I don't know how like trustworthy the genealogy stuff goes past like after I feel like after like my great granddad or great great granddad after like when you go past that I'm like how sure are we?
Yeah, yeah. Is this how much of this is guesswork?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um well heck yeah. For my second moment is I got a new stuffed fish. I know I'm really reaching to the bottom of the barrel here, but I got a stuffed fish. For any of the listeners, I'm holding him up to the camera right now. And I had my Twitch chat the other night name him, and his name is Toonie. Toonie the
Okay,
tuna
I see.
fish.
Yeah, I saw that in your Twitch title from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Where'd you get it?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a backstory with it, which is why I wanted to bring it up. Is at my mom's job, she works at like a medical office. And they've had this fish there just chilling on a shelf for years. And anytime that I come into her work, I usually help them around the office with like really small stuff when I'm in there, and I'll just like I'll see it and I'll just pick it up and just I'll just start like not playing with it, but just kind of just messing around with it, and then I'll put it back where it's at. And so one day, I asked my mom's boss. I was like, can I just take this? Like, I don't think it belongs to anybody here, and I'm clearly getting enjoyment out of it. So
Yeah. Can I give this thing a home?
yeah, and she was like, yeah, please. I hate having random crap around the office, so she let me have it, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I had grand like a grand vision that I could take it wherever I go and put pictures on Instagram, create its own Instagram profile, and it could become a celebrifish.
Yeah.
I don't. That's not gonna happen, but
The most unassuming locations.
yeah.
All right, we're hijacking my lap right now.
Does she like to get in your lap a lot?
Yeah, she does. She just likes attention. She
Mm-hmm.
and she wants to play. Right now she's chewing on my arm. Hey, knock it off. Um, she just yeah she everywhere I go she follows. She's different than a lot of other cats that I've had that have been a little more like suave about
Mm-hmm.
it. She's just kind of attached and needy, which is adorable. I
Yeah,
love
I
it a
think
lot.
that's the best kind of cat.
Yeah, and she follows me. She stares at me like she is right now, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, she's pretty cute though.
She's your little buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I have my cat Pineapple. She used to be that way more when she was younger. She's still lovey. Like every once in a while she'll hop up in my lap, but she's pretty like leave me be, but I'll follow you to the bathroom and then I want you to pet me for a few minutes before I want to leave kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and like the door's closed and I can hear her meowing off to the side. But as soon as I open it and I try to like pick her up and like sit her down with me, she'll want to run off. She just wants to be in the vicinity.
She's like, leave that door open. I'll come in if I want.
Yeah. Our bathroom doorknob is like pretty easy to like just turn. Like it just doesn't have a lot of tension when it comes to turning and opening the door, and she's learned how to like reach up, and every once in a while, if I don't lock the door, she'll open it. Like I'll be on the toilet or in the shower, and the door will just start creaking open. And I just see her little head just hello.
You thought you could get away, huh?
Yeah. Or like when I leave the door locked, I'll open it, and she'll just be sitting there like, "Why'd you lock the door, huh?" Man. But yeah, so I got a new stuffed fish, and the last one that I wanted to mention was I go to the same gas station every day, and it's not even like convenient for me to get to. It's like one of the furthest gas stations from my house, but it's very clean. It's very nice, and the more specific thing that I wanted to bring up is that everybody that works there is very wonderful. Uh, and I feel like I've had a lot of bad gas station experiences.
Sure, yeah.
And sometimes it's with the staff or just what's happening around in the area. But at this gas station, like I love going to it because I always feel safe, and everybody there is always really nice and welcoming. And I always go to the same pump, and they always know what pump I'm on, and they're usually trying to guess the dollar amount that I'm putting on it.
That's cool. Yeah, you're a regular now, and they're like
Yeah,
kind of getting buddy buddy with you.
yeah, a little bit. And
That's cool.
it's just nice. I don't know. Like they're just all friendly in there. It seems like they like their job at least, and
Yeah.
it seems to spread throughout the store, kind of thing. It's clean. It's nice. I don't know. I like it. It's a good. It's a pleasant experience. I don't know if you ever heard of Cumberland Farms. I know there's not too many in your region, so without
That's
doxing you.
that might sound familiar, but I might also be mixing it up with a song called Cumberland Gap that I'm thinking of. I don't know if I'm mixing those two up.
uh, Probably. Yeah, I know there's where you are. I know there's not any. They're more in my region, and then also up in like New England, kind of thing.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah.
we are getting a Wawa soon,
Ooh.
which is fun. Yeah.
They're
So
too.
battle of the sheets and Wawa over here.
Yeah, they're too. Wawas are too busy. We just got a new Wawa down the road put in, and as much as I like it, there's just too much going on. And when I'm getting gas, they put this really awkward like kiosk right in front of the registers, and
Ooh.
and so but and it looks nice, but it makes it awkward to know where I need to stand in order to be in line. And I can see that other people are also like, do I get on the other side of the kiosk or do I get on this side?
Yeah,
And
that's weird.
it stresses me out. And so I just end up going to the Cumberland. That's a little bit further instead, just because. Yeah.
Gotcha. So on the like sheets Wawa war, you're kind of like neither Cumberland Falls or Cumberland Farms.
Yeah, if we're talking, if I have those three options, Cumberland. If I only have like the Wawa or the sheets, the only sheets I'll be honest. I haven't like it comes like the food and the drinks. I haven't been to too many Wawas as compared to sheets. So
Okay.
I would have to give it to sheets, but I know a Wawa they're usually nicer on the inside. I won't lie, but I've just never gotten anything special from a Wawa yet.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm interested to see because when I went to school, so many people that I went to school with, even though it was a school in Virginia, they were from New Jersey.
Hmm.
Like, that
Mm-hmm.
school just attracted people from New Jersey and Pennsylvania for some reason, and I always
Yeah.
wanted to know like how did you find out about this school? But they were all like, "Oh, Wawa is so much better than Sheets. It's so much better. Their food is so much better." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how could that possibly be true? Like, I don't like the food would have to. Not that Sheets food is like fantastic or anything like that, but I can't imagine that Wawa food is any better.
Yeah, I feel like it's same quality, kind of like
Yeah.
just like setup and everything. But I'm just speaking from visual. I've never again tasted. I've tasted Sheets food plenty of times. I've had plenty of late night Sheet runs, especially before COVID when they were open. Like they had the kitchen section open all day. I know sometimes they don't. Certain locations don't always do the all day kitchen now.
Mm. I feel
But
like
when
that's
I'm,
a good thing for the employees.
oh yeah, I'm
Give them,
sure.
give them a break.
Yeah. Uh, but I can say going into the Wawa, the food does look and smell good, and they seem to have more options than a Sheets.
Okay.
At least from what I remember, it's been a while since I've been in a Sheets, so it's been a year or two.
Several years ago, I was living off of Sheets like dollar hot dogs, like they're 2 for 1,
Uh
and
huh.
my budget was just super tight, and I would get those hot dogs like before and after work constantly. I'm a little
Yeah.
burned out on hot dogs after that, but
I was a Sheets shake kind of guy. I loved their. They had like a cookies and cream shake that was really good. I do
yeah,
remember. I
yeah.
do. I do remember that. I always had a
I got
pleasant
addicted to
experience with
their
that.
fluffernutter shake for a little bit. Really good.
Fluffernutter? What's in that?
Hey, peanut butter and marshmallow, I think, and
Mm,
maybe like vanilla ice cream.
that sounds good in a shake. Mm.
Yeah,
Now I'm gonna have to go like find somewhere that does like a peanut butter marshmallow shake because that sounds
I
really good.
I think Sheets still has it. I could be wrong.
I don't have
I
any
haven't
down
gotten it
here
in
in
a long time.
Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if there is a Sheets around here, I don't know where it is.
I'll ship you one in a
Yeah,
box.
yeah. Just post it. Yeah, we we have a Bucky's down here. Which have you ever heard
Mm,
of that?
I think I have. Is that like a full grocery store?
I don't know.
Or am I thinking
It's
of
like
like
this.
Buckeyes?
You might be. I don't know. I've never heard of that either. But
Or, I don't know what
but
I'm thinking of.
but Bucky's. It has like a there's like a beaver as their logo, and it's supposed to be like the largest gas station in like the U.S. Like I know some have like 200 pumps when you go to them, and there are these like giant buildings that yeah I'm sure they could probably fit a grocery store in there. So that probably is what they do. But it's like this cultural phenomenon down here where like people are like they got their Bucky shirts and they got their Bucky pencils and pens, like they're just grabbing like Bucky tumblers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the hype for like you would see for a Wawa and then scale that to like 10.
Okay. I feel like I am thinking of the same thing then, but I just
Mm-hmm.
had no idea what it was.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I know
yeah,
it's like pretty popular in Texas, and we just got one within like the last year around here. It's like 30 minutes north, but close enough.
200 pumps. That sounds crazy.
Yeah,
They must have a giant fuel reservoir underneath
pro-
to support that.
oh boy, probably yeah. 200 could be a reach, but it's definitely more than I want to say 50. I mean
Okay.
they have a lot of pumps. I know that.
Lord. Yeah. That's crazy. I guess in a busy like area like Florida probably has, um, you would need that. Up
Yeah.
here, they would go fairly like unused, I guess. Although when
True.
she's on in July last year, I think they went to like $1.76 or something like that, $1.77 for gas for
Oh,
July 4th.
I wish.
Um,
I
and
wish.
it was slammed. I mean, they were
Oh, I'm
backed up the
sure.
road.
I would have took advantage of that because gas around here has been like 350, 360 hovering lately, and ugh,
Mm, yeah.
it's no go. But yeah, that I think that concludes my weekly look back.
Yeah.
the
Sounds like a pretty good week.
the Cumberland Farm gas station. Yeah, a solid, it was a solid week. Yeah,
Yeah,
not too much went off a routine, you know. So yeah,
that's good.
we can
Cool.
we can hop into yours now if you're ready.
Okay. So I had a big, this is good timing because I had a big development happen this week. So for the past year at work, I'm on a team of two basically.
Mm.
I a year ago, my supervisor left. So the team of two, I do grant writing, and there are two of us writers that are staffed, and my supervisor, who was the senior grant writer, left, and so I moved up into her position. And for a year, we've been looking to fill the lower position. So I've been largely doing the bulk of that work. We contracted out some help, some like part-time help for it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been just an agonizing year of being super busy and being kind of overwhelmed and that kind of stuff, to
Yeah.
the point where like I've been uncharacteristically like aggressive at work and unhappy and all that kind of stuff. So finally we filled that position, and they started not this past week but the week before, but the bulk of their work has been in our work like happening together has been happening this week,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been just so nice having like assistance
Yeah.
already,
Yeah.
with the workload, uh, like to the point where two people like around the office have made unsolicited comments about how I'm like walking different, like I'm just a little more loose and not so
Yeah. Not so tense
tense
and
up all the time.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like leave work and my chest would be like knitted, if you know that feeling of just like being so overwhelmed and being like, how am I possibly gonna get this stuff done?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So so
Well,
yeah,
heck
it's been
yeah.
nice.
Congratulations, even though you didn't get the job,
Yeah,
technically.
yeah,
But either way, yeah, that's wonderful. I'm happy for you.
yeah. It's nice. The search is finally over. I mean, hopefully, as long as she doesn't, as long as we don't scare her off.
Yeah. Are you trying to be like gentle? Like, are you doing the training for it?
Yeah, I am trying to. There are some elements that are a little bit out of my control.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a little bit difficult, but I've had like pretty frank like conversations with her about how some of that goes, and uh, so it's been good. She doesn't seem to be like overwhelmed or anything. In fact, she is on the ball more than I expected. Like when I first started, I didn't know anything about grant writing, and so I was. It took me maybe 2 to 3 weeks to kind of get on the ball and figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And by that point, I was kind of like saying to my supervisor, like, can I have something tangible to work on? Like, can I start one?
Yeah.
But her first week, she started writing some and putting them together, and in fact, found like we have to do kind of like grant prospecting, try and find new opportunities to bring new funding in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she found one on her own and applied for it,
Nice.
which is awesome. Yeah, she's killing
Yeah.
it already.
Initiative. Yeah. Well, heck yeah. I'm glad that weight has been lifted off your shoulders a little bit, and
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
it's a
Congratulations.
massive relief. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
um.
definitely the happiest part of the week.
Yeah. So like, would you say, uh, in terms of like you like so I imagine your workload has just kind of decreased a lot in terms of just like kind of what's on your plate.
Well, so far it's increased a little bit just in terms of like uh, helping her out and getting her kind of up to speed with certain things. And we're starting to be. I mean, before over the past year, I guess I'll go before that. My predecessor and I always checked each other's work. Didn't matter how long we had been working together or how long either of us had been there. We just did a double check review on any grants before they went out,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that the data was accurate and all that kind of stuff, and that we had packed it with everything that we needed to pack it with in terms of information. Uh, I abandoned that over the past year just because to have anybody else review it would have taken up so much time,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've just been doing them on my own. So we're at this point, it's still some review and that kind of stuff before they're going out, which is slowing things down in a way, but at the same time, because it's all hands on deck, it's still moving at a pretty good pace.
Okay.
So the workload hasn't decreased yet, but
But you got help with that workload now, kind of.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And as time goes, as we kind of work out our efficiencies, it will be um, it'll be better.
Good. Good.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so that's good. Second exciting thing, not to get too self promotiony,
Nope. Do it.
but as you know, Matt slash Aerodactyl and I have our channel.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working on a new mascot. I won't give too much information here because we haven't released it yet. But we've been working on a new mascot or a mascot for our channel,
Yeah.
and we just ordered emotes for it this week, which is
Nice.
very exciting. We don't have any emotes yet, so we got those back incrementally across the week. We finally got some yesterday that I had to like wrestle out of one of the creators that we contracted some people out on Fiverr for it.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, got those back, and that's really exciting. So
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
just a chance to put those on the channel and be able to kind of debut that is going to be really cool.
You're doing like a full rollout with the mascot and the emotes. You said you were working on a mascot. Did y'all like were y'all designing it, or did you kind of like get an idea and then source it to like Fiverr?
Yeah, so mutually, like we got on and just kind of discussed what we wanted, what our vision for it was, and came upon like a kind of a mutual vision, and then took that to Fiverr and gave them kind of a source image and said, we're we're looking at this and we want this kind of style, and let them run with it, and they created something that we were both happy with. So
Sweet. Heck yeah. Have
yeah,
Have you ever had
I
any
mean,
bad experiences on Fiverr?
this week was the only one where I felt like it was nearing a bad experience. And to be fair, I mean to be critical of myself, I'm always a little over suspicious of certain things. So like I may have been unfairly suspicious of the motivations of this creator, and
Mm-hmm.
not looking critically enough at how we could have helped the situation. But uh, so we ordered 5 emotes from someone, and the way that we did it incorrectly. Apparently, I went and actually looked this morning to verify that there was this option available that we had just skipped over.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of ordering a package of 5 and giving them 7 days to work on those 5 emotes, we ordered 5 individual emotes at 2 days each. So they
Mm-hmm.
only had 2 days to prepare the 5, um, which sucks. But
Yeah.
the way that they handled that was to send us a note that basically said, "You owe me $20." And I was
Oh.
just immediately, I was like, "No,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
This is your pay scale. Like, what are you talking about?" And Matt was he was a little more understanding and a little more open to, "Oh, we should have done this in a different way. Let's find a way to like compromise with him."
Mm-hmm.
While I was in the gear of, this guy's doing something scummy. Let me figure, like, I want to figure out what he's doing that's wrong,
Yeah.
which was not correct. We had definitely done that in the wrong way. I will say that he continued to kind of like, uh, I'm missing the phrase, but he doubled down basically on what he was trying to get us to do, which was essentially like either go onto a private discussion with him so that he could mark the order as complete without having delivered us the stuff, but still give himself time to do it,
I see. Uh-huh.
uh, or pay us $20, which I'm guessing was the fee he would tack on for missing the deadline. I
Mm.
don't know how all of that works, but it was. He ended up creating them and sending us a watermarked screenshot of it, and still trying to get us to go into a private conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point I was like, just send it to us so we can mark the. So it wasn't like it was a mutually bad situation,
Mm-hmm.
on both sides. So, well, a
I
little
feel
lesson for
like
myself to not be quite so suspicious of people, but it was still
I feel like
not
it's the
ideal.
nature of the site on Fiverr, because you have you have like these people that are like all super verified 5 stars with like 200 reviews or 2,000 reviews, and then you got these smaller creators that they got nice work, a nice deal on the price and stuff, but it's kind of like, is this like I just feel like the nature of the site does have like a little sketchiness to it. Even if the people mean well, it's just like, how do you know who and what to trust, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like, I've had a hard time in the past trying to like find like an emote maker and one that I trust, and luckily I have landed on one that I really like. But even when I'm looking at other graphics, I'm like, oh, this looks cool, but they only have like 2 reviews. Like, how am I supposed to trust them? But they could just be a genuine,
Someone
cool
trying to
cat.
start. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then, but of course, and then once you get that tension, especially with like the price, then you're kind of like, ooh, am I being haggled here, or am I missing something? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you're not familiar with the platform and all the different like intricacies of how it works, then it can seem like someone's trying to pull the wool over your eyes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's probably a really rare case and
I'm,
situation.
I'm sure.
I
But
tried to do work on Upwork, which is similar to Fiverr, like years
yeah,
ago, and it is really hard to get started and to like break into it. I mean, you pretty much have to do a lot of like beginning work for very little reward before you'll get enough positive reviews to make an impact.
yeah, yeah. I've I remember when I was looking at like, how can I make money at home. I
Yeah.
remember, I remember, I remember looking at Upwork, and I feel like the barrier to entry just seemed a little rough. And then like I was like, okay, well, I know how to do these things, and I'd love to do these things. And I have like, when I was looking in the marketplace of like the subject that I was interested, there's already like titans in that field, and I'm like, well, how am I going to compete with with these people?
Yeah. Like what how you're right. I mean, yeah, I mean that's the issue is that they could just go to someone who's already established. Why go to someone who's
Who's not? And then
who's
and
not?
that usually means you lower your price. But then
Right. Yeah.
that's when you teeter on the line. Like, is it worth it, the time that I'm putting into this now? And
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure
Um,
people run into the same issue on Fiverr. A lot of the artists, and just all the different, they have so many different like options to choose from on Fiverr, in
yeah.
terms of just things you want to do and things you want done.
Yeah. I mean, and looking at ours, we knew. So I had ordered some emotes for us like months back,
Mm.
and they were too like chibi for us
Yeah.
to be really happy with them. And I should have like noted that what I did was like when I ordered them, I sent a note with it that basically said like, please don't do any kind of like pixel art, just because I feel like that's so played out in terms of streamer stuff.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to avoid anything like kind of video game related, I guess, for some reason. I don't know what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But
You want to be
they,
unique.
yeah, yeah. And so they came back really like cartoonish and cutesy. Like we look like toddlers.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
That
they were
that that
well
is the
done. It
running
was
that is the
fun.
running theme for a lot of streamer emotes, is the cute little chibi. I mean, I have my own. They're of my cat, but they're still the kind of, you know, eyes bigger than the head, cute little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and that just didn't seem the only way that I feel like we would pull that off, and it's still kind of a consideration for us, would be to lean into the cutesiness, but have them doing like vulgar and obscene things at the same time.
Yeah.
That might still be on the table.
That could be an interesting take on some chibi emotes. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But as part of so when we did the emotes this past week, we reached out to 3 different creators, and for one of them, we had them make our cats,
Hmm.
same way. So I am excited.
Sweet.
Just as a side note, Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out this week.
Hmm. I have no idea
And
what that is.
Dragon's Dogma 1 is a really fun, underrated Capcom like. uh, Not Skyrim like, but kind of Skyrim like. Like it's a fantasy open world, kind of wandering around, and there are like fantasy creatures and stuff like that, and you get quests and blah blah blah.
Okay.
But it feels like a more scaled down version of Skyrim, like the first one does, a little more bare bones
What's
in
it
terms
on?
of depth. Should be on everything.
Okay.
It was originally a PlayStation 3 game, I think. I can't remember if it came to Xbox, but But yeah, it's really good. So the second one's coming out. The first one, they didn't give the creator full control, but the second one they have, and apparently it's a huge world. But the character creator just came out, and Matt has created me in Fallout for his Fallout playthrough that he's doing right now.
Oh, I haven't seen the character. It's you, like.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
the...
It's the main character. And so I think I'm gonna do for Dragon's Dogma. You create not only yourself, but you create what's called a pawn, and they're just like a character that runs around with you. And for this one, they're introducing a new like. Are you familiar with Skyrim? Did you play a lot of
Oh,
that?
I love Skyrim.
Yep.
I have, yeah. Yeah.
So there's a new race in this one that's basically Khajiit.
Best race in Skyrim, Khajiit. I always play Khajiit. I don't think I've ever played anything else.
So I'm gonna do Matt as the main character, and his cat Atari as his pawn, like a
Yeah,
boss Atari. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And
I
when did you
hope
say
it
when
goes
it was
up.
releasing, you said? Sorry.
I think it's the 22nd. Is that
Okay.
Friday?
Okay. I might have to look into that. I've been trying to get into more games. So, because I'm sure you're aware, I play a lot of the same competitive like shooters and Rocket League, and
Yeah.
as much as I love them, it gets a little old, and so I've been looking for more games to kind of pick up and see if they'll if they'll be the one to catch me. So,
Yeah. So you like Skyrim a lot. So you don't mind like single player games.
no, I love a good single player game. I want to find a good single player game to get lost in again. I was talking to some friends about that last week. How I just like I want another Red Dead, Fallout
Yeah.
kind of game to just suck me into it. God of War, like I wish Ragnarok would come to PC already, because I would hop on that in an instant.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Spider-Man 2. I
Oh
wish they
man,
could just
yeah, the
start putting
Spider-Man
that stuff on
games.
PC. Just put it right on there. You're good. So much money from sales.
I was about to say, like, I feel like it's just a loss if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like sure you'll have the anticipation, but I feel like people might just get played like, oh, I've already seen the gameplay over the past year and a half now, so why would I play it, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But if you put it on PC, I mean, you're gonna have everybody on your PlayStation. They're gonna buy it whether it's a PlayStation exclusive or not. The Spider-Man games, those kinds of games, or God of
Yeah.
War, they're gonna buy it. So just open the market up to us already while the hype is still there for the game. That's my
Yeah.
personal opinion on it. But
I think a lot of that, some of that too, is like, for some reason, for some babyish reason, they get backlash for doing that, for like putting games on different platforms. Like when Xbox announced that Sea of Thieves was coming to PlayStation, apparently some big Xbox like streamers and stuff like that were like, "Well, we're done with Xbox," which is like, okay, brat, like sure,
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're a gatekeeping loser, like making sure that no people on PlayStation can
I
play
feel
this
like
awesome game. Like,
yeah, I feel like it's just more people to play with, more people in Sea of Thieves. It's more people to shit on. Like,
yeah,
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 you got some newbies that never played the game. You could sink all of them. I don't know. I feel like the more people playing, the better.
yeah, I think so too.
And that goes to any game. I feel like I'm definitely like done with the whole idea of exclusivity. Like it's sure,
Yeah,
like sure, I love the fact that Halo is an Xbox title, but I mean it's already on PC at this point. I think there's talks about bringing it to the Switch now, and everything. So like I, at the end of the day, I feel like it's just a benefit. Like I just want us all to be gamers.
yeah, yeah. We have to unite as gamers.
Yeah, and I'm actually in a Sea of Thieves community, and a lot of the talk in the community has actually been positive for just from what I've seen. Like I'm on a Facebook Sea of Thieves page, and for the most part, most people are like, yeah, I can't wait to I can't wait to, you know, crap on some PlayStation noobs and Sea of Thieves, and the same
Yeah.
with Helldivers, as
Like,
Helldivers isn't on Xbox yet. I don't
yeah,
think,
yeah.
or it's about to. And a lot of the posts are like, we need our Xbox brothers right now. We need help. We need we need help with securing freedom, kind of thing.
Yeah. That game looks awesome. But there are so many, like the Battlefront collection came out this week, and now Dragon's Dogma is coming out, and I'm like,
The
I'm
Battlefront
already
collection
looking
received a
at,
lot of hate
yeah.
because
Well,
they had
yeah.
like 2 servers up or something like that for like the for everybody that bought it.
I saw a screenshot
And
on Reddit last night for the PC players, and there were 6 active people playing on Steam.
that's
And I was
that's not
like,
good.
they destroyed their fan base by doing that. Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody else was like, "Hey, there's a perfectly workable modern Star Wars Battlefront game that we can all switch to." And they were like, "Oh, we've gone full circle. Now the originals are
Yeah.
shit, and we're back to like playing
Back to
the
the yeah,
2017." Yeah,
which they
which
are
that game,
good. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
they're
Dob
great game.
Dob and I have we've played some matches on there, and it's always a good crazy time
Yeah.
in them. I grew up on the original Battlefront game. I used to on the PlayStation 2. I used to just spend hours on not Hoth. Where's Princess Amidala? What's the name of her home planet? Uh,
Uh,
like
Alderaan. Is it Alderaan?
Alderaan. Yeah, I think
Or no, not no, Naboo. Naboo. I'm thinking Leia.
Naboo. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's like the drones versus the, I guess it's the Republic. The drones, droids versus the Republic on Naboo.
Star Wars fans right now are like,
Ah.
um, yeah. I loved that game. It was a lot of fun. Matt brought something up recently because we were about to get it, and he was like, he reminded me of the Bespin map, which I loved that Bespin map
Mhm.
when I was playing it originally. Um, so yeah, that was my I think that was my main map.
I can't remember the one that there was the one that had the Sarlacc pit. That one was great because were you fighting the Empire, but you were also fighting what's the little dudes? What's their names? I can't remember all of a sudden.
They talk about the, like, green...
The Tuscan Raiders.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is that
Are you
right?
talking about the Jawas? The Jawas are the ones with the like hood on, and you can see their little yellow eyes.
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is Jawas. I there might have been. I feel like was there both? Was there Jawas and Tuscans in it?
Jawas were
Am I saying that right?
definitely,
Tuscans.
yeah, Tuscan Raiders.
Yeah. I think it had both. I think it had Jawa. I think you could be, or not you, but I think there was Jawas and Tuscan Raiders on that one map. I think.
I think you're right. I think you might. Are you talking about the Mos Eisley map? I can't remember
I couldn't give you names, but it's the original
Okay.
Battlefront, and it was the same map that had the Sarlacc pit in the center of the map,
Okay.
and yeah, I just remember that map being a lot of fun, as well as like the Sky City one where you could like fall off and it's just ocean down below and it's
Yeah,
raining.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
used to
That one
just
is so moody and like fun.
chucking concussion grenades and just watching the hero of the map just go fly off off the map.
If you apparently there's an achievement you can get in the new collection if you explode a hero off of the map on that level, you get an achievement,
Okay.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Uh, if you have the game, do you ever play VR? Are you a VR fan at all?
I don't have VR, but I've played a handful of VR games. I want to.
Okay.
It just hasn't been in my budget. But
Yeah,
I've
it
played
is.
Beat Saber, VR Chat, and Half-Life Alyx. I've played all those in VR. I don't think I've touched any other VR games, unfortunately.
Gotcha. In if you ever pick it up in Contractors, the game Contractors,
Mm-hmm.
that you can just join servers that are Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, like the originals, just maps from that, and you get the guns from it, and it's a lot of fun to be like in
Okay.
VR in those old maps. Fun
There's
stuff.
I think it might be Blade and Sorcery, Blade or Sorcery. It's either that or like another game that's like that where you can like I think download mods that like you have a lightsaber and force powers.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I love watching the clips of people just throwing their lightsabers using the force, bringing the
yeah,
lightsaber back, and I love watching those gameplays.
yeah. Those like TikToks, it's just music, and they're like spinning around and doing crazy stuff on those maps. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
like
they
those.
were they got the Spider-Man web slingers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're swinging around. Yeah, that stuff is cool.
I like
They
those.
hit
I
him with
like
like a
those.
frying pan in the face and stuff like that.
Yep. Or they'll like shoot a frying pan into somebody's face.
Yeah, yeah. They do those like crazy trick shots. That'd be
Yeah,
fun to learn how to do.
there would be. There would be. Yeah, no, I hope to get into VR soon.
It is the cost of entry is a lot.
hmm I know the Quest kind of cuts down on that, but I want to be. I don't want to. I actually want to be like kind of locked in into the computer, which I know you could do like a Windows link, like you can cord your Quest into the PC. I know that's an option too, but
Yeah, I haven't tried that. I haven't. Do you mean like with a physical cord? I feel like
Yeah,
there's a
yeah. So like you could use the Quest standalone, of course, and then there's also
right.
like you can also like connect a cord to the Quest to the PC. So like you could play games that maybe aren't on the Quest, and like let's say you're in VR chat, and instead of saying you're a Quest user, it'll say that you're just like a normal Steam VR user kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's what I do for my for mine. I have the first Quest, I
Mm-hmm.
think, and I think on the second one you can just connect wirelessly. But I'm not sure. I would have to look that up and verify that. I think
Mm-hmm.
Matt has the second one, which I'm jealous of because they keep putting those freaking Resident Evil games in VR.
Ooh.
Like they put Resident
Uh-huh.
Evil 4, the original version, in VR, but it was only available on the Quest 2, and they didn't put it on any other platforms. That made me jealous. But
That would be fun. I think whichever one is has like the Biohazard DLC and Village, I'd probably poop my pants
yeah,
playing. Honestly, any scary game in VR, I think I would die. I don't know. I
yeah,
couldn't like playing Outlast in VR or something. Oh dear God, that would be terrible. I think that's a thing, isn't it? Outlast
yeah,
VR.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I think you're right. If it's not an official thing, then I'm sure somebody has like modded it to
Mm-hmm.
be VR. There are so many like standard to VR mods out there now, um, that I've been wanting to explore. The ones that I have tried haven't been perfect though. Like I tried a Firewatch one, and it was a little weird. They have a hard time adjusting around like preset animations. Like if you're crawling over a log or something, you kind
Mm-hmm.
of have to sit and watch the
As
character do that, and then you
yeah,
zoom back into its head. Uh, that's interesting
it
stuff.
kind of
But
takes you out of it a little bit.
yeah, it kind of destroys that immersion, which is what VR is all about.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, it just becomes kind of like this novelty, like, oh, I can look around thing. But
Yeah. Well, heck yeah. A lot of
yeah,
lot of game talk on that one. I'm sorry, I don't even remember what the original what the original good news thing was on that one.
I think
Oh,
I
it was
went
the emotes. It was the emotes
emotes.
in the
Yeah,
mascot. Okay, wow, wow, that really spiraled off, huh?
yeah. Sorry about that. I just kind of took us on a
No,
journey
no,
to
it's
video
okay.
games.
No, it's good.
Um,
Did you have more you wanted to share on that, or like for your weekly
uh,
look back?
I'll snowball into saying that, and continuing kind of the video game talk, something that I'm trying to work on, and I kind of touched on as far as like what I did yesterday goes. I'm trying to get better at, especially now that we've started the channel and everything,
Mm-hmm.
at trying to relax without feeling guilty about it, like without being productive in any kind of way, and just kind of sitting down and doing something that I enjoy without thinking like I should record this or I should clip it or how can I turn this into some sort of content or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a constant journey. But yesterday was sort of the first step of that, where I was a little aggressive with myself and saying like, just sit down and like play something that you're interested in playing and like devote hours to it if I want to without
Worrying about content.
feeling like I'm being a bum essentially, and just sitting at home on a Saturday and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I feel like that's something I battle with too. Like I I've been doing it a little more recently, but I had a hard time like, oh, I'm playing Fortnite right now. Like I could totally stream this and maybe get some like clips or content out of it.
Yeah.
And but recently I have been making the choice to sometimes like, nope, just play games with the boys. Like last night we were hopping on Fortnite, and I know my stream doesn't like handle Fortnite very well while I'm streaming it, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna end the stream and I'm just gonna play Fortnite and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that a little more with like just some other games and just some other moments. Like I don't need the stream right now. It's I just
Yeah.
want to play with the boys without having to try to read chat and worry about my scenes and whatnot. So
Yeah. And that's another thing that I need to like along those same lines, like just in terms of self-improvement of trying to connect with friends and play with them offline in a non to like kind of show them that they mean more to me than just like playing on YouTube and shit like that.
yeah.
Which I don't have any reason to believe that they think that I I am in any different headspace than that,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but yeah, I agree. Like it's good to have those times with your friends where there's no, it's not like content creator. You're just spending time with
Yeah. Yeah,
people
with
that you
you, with your
care about.
pals. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I think I've been getting a little burnt out, not on streaming, but just like only playing games that I think would be good on a stream. I don't do too much like the YouTube gaming stuff, so recording wise, I don't worry about that. But just like oh, I really want to play. I'm just trying to like I could look at my desktop really quick. I really want to play just game A, and but I don't think it'd be really entertaining. There's not much to talk about, and or like I'm really focused, and so I'm like I won't stream it then. And then if I don't stream it, I just usually don't end up playing. And so I've been trying to get myself in the headspace of like either just play a game just because you want to play a game, don't worry about streaming it, or just stream it and don't worry about if people want to watch it.
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and the same thing goes with like just trying to play games with friends. It's like oh let's let's play this game and not worry about trying to trying to make content out of it. Just enjoy
yeah.
it. No, I like that you're embarking on that journey.
Yeah, I mean, it's a constant. I think it's just a constant kind of. I don't want to call it a struggle, but it's like it's a conscientious decision sometimes to just cut it off, like cut off all productivity and just kind of
Yeah.
have some independent time for yourself and for the people that you like playing games with and stuff. So,
I think
yeah,
a lot like feeling bad does play a lot into that. Like when it comes to like your followers and your subscribers, it's like oh like if I'm letting them down if I'm not live, or or your viewers like I'm letting them down if I'm not uploading. And but it's
yeah,
also like you're gonna get burnt out and you're gonna like hate gaming and resent gaming. I feel like
yeah, yeah,
I follow and listen to like a lot of podcasts and like YouTube videos of other gamers that I really enjoy, and I hear a lot of them just like I stopped playing this game because I just feel like I always had to make a video out of it, or I always had to stream it, or the people that my viewers didn't want me to stream it, and so I just never played it and I hated it, and I don't want to fall into that, you know.
yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Um, yeah.
Oh heck yeah. Uh, was there anything else on your list?
Well, I'll make like one last note that I have enjoyed the kind of like networking feel, and I don't want to call it networking because that's such a businessy talk, but like, well, we've gotten to meet you,
Mm-hmm.
another creator, and that has been like a massive kind of help to us. Like it just feels good to be sort of building a mutual community together.
Yeah.
And I've been I like joining other small streamers on Twitch and joining their discords just to kind of see what they do,
Mm-hmm.
and just in terms of like talking about that content creation community and stuff like that, it's nice talking to and connecting with other streamers who have those same kind of feelings and stuff like that. So just
No,
a small
it's
note on that.
yeah, no, it's been wonderful. The best way that I would word it is networking too. But even then, like I look at you and Matt as like friends now.
Yeah,
But
yeah, same here.
no, it's actually very nice. And like when I back during the holidays, I had like a little event going on, and I met so many people. It was all for this big charity thing, and I met so many people through that. And now some of them like I stream with them regularly, or we plan like once a month or once bi-weekly. We all plan like a little get together and play like a specific game, and it is nice. And like how you're saying you're going into like other Twitch streamers chats, probably like a year ago, I had like a for like a month or two I had like a kick of just finding a bunch of small streamers and following them, throwing like a gifted sub at them, and just try to chat with them and make friends. And it wasn't even for like a ooh, I can use this collab to you know get all their followers, or like it was it
Yeah,
was it was just to like just meet people and like get in their discords and everything, and just not necessarily learn from them, but just
uh,
see what it really means to be like a small streamer in this
yes, yeah.
space. And
Just
yeah.
commiserating because so much of this work is like independent work of just like trial and error trying to figure it out, and it's just really nice to talk to someone who's also done that and
Hmm.
learned lessons, and you can like just talk to them about the different things that you've learned. So yeah, I totally get it. It's definitely I mean, it doesn't come same here. It doesn't come from a place of like, how can I leverage this to be more successful in a way. It's more
Yeah.
like, it's nice to commiserate with other creators about the challenges and successes and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
And like and it's nice once you build that bond where you can kind of support each other. Like, oh, I'm running into this
Yeah, yeah,
issue. Uh, can you help me? And
yeah,
like the other like collaboration channel that I'm in, or Discord, yeah, Discord server. They're always like, hey, a lot of them are VTubers, and so they have like a lot of VTuber questions, and it's just nice to kind of see them help each other out, and it's just, yeah, it's a good feeling. It's nice to
yeah.
have. So, yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because we do have questions for you, which we can save later
Mhm.
for like VTubing questions. Now that
I
we have our
am I
maps
am
out, we have
I'm here for it.
some VTubing ideas. So
Ooh,
I trace you down
I'm
for this.
excited to hear them. Well,
Yeah,
heck
we'll
yeah.
probably do kind of what you do, which is like bounce back and forth, do VTubing sometimes, and do
Hmm.
on camera some other times. So yeah,
Yeah, it usually just falls into like sometimes I just don't feel like having my face on the screen. It's like I usually end up trying to still be pretty expressive even with my VTube,
yeah,
with my model, but even then it's yeah, it's just like if I have a bad hair day, sometimes I'll throw that on. I know I'm probably doing it for other reasons that people like. No, I just really enjoy, like I really want my I really want a VTube, and I do too. But I usually end up using it like when I'm a little insecure, or I just don't feel like I didn't make my bed and I don't want to show it off, so that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing. But I'm also starting to run into a space where like I'm trying to make like little gimmicks with my VTube and whatnot, and just make it a little more interesting while I'm doing it, and make and so I don't want my viewers to kind of like when I'm VTubing be like, oh, he's VTubing today. I want them to be like, oh yes, he's VTubing, like this, that means
yeah,
this thing will be happening or whatever.
yeah. An
So
opportunity for something special, kind of.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. It seems like I think, and we this is, I'm basing this on a 30-second like conversation basically, but it sounds like we're leaning toward like, on individual days we would do our cameras, but on like a friend Friday or something like that, we would do the VTubing. So it was more of like, we are not the star of that stream. Like the whole friend group is the,
Yeah,
I don't know. That's
that
like I
sounds
said, that was
nice.
based on
Oh, I
a
like
30
that.
second preliminary discussion that we had had.
Yeah, no, I like that though. No, I like that direction with it. I might have to keep that in mind as well. Not to piggyback off y'all, but
No, no, this is
no,
what
but
it's
I
about.
that's
It's about like
it's the
gathering ideas and
I like the mindfulness of that though. So yeah,
it's fun stuff.
indeed. Well, if that concludes your look back, we've I don't know how much time you have because we've already hit the hour mark and we haven't even started. We haven't even started the news. I'm cool to keep going, but
I'm cool to keep going too.
I say I understand if you have time constraints.
The
So
only thing on my calendar, or my yeah, I guess my calendar for today is to actually clean my apartment like I didn't do yesterday. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm totally good. I'm good with procrastinating on that and continuing to have a fun conversation for sure.
Well, heck yeah. So before we go into the positive press section, I'm gonna do something that I keep forgetting to do, which is
Okay.
reading the Discord's look back. We only have two, and one of them is from you.
Okay.
But I do want to read them, and this is for anybody who's currently watching or listening. If you join the Savvy Society Discord, you too could put in your positive moments that you had throughout your week, and we will read them out. Um, or I should say I and any future guests that I have on. But I'll read the one that wasn't from you first, and then maybe I'll let you can read your one that you had, and we can talk about it.
Okay. That sounds good.
Uh, yeah, so from our very own Titanium TV, or Tyler, who was our first guest on the show, uh, they finally started going back to therapy earlier this week instead of anger management therapy. This is more focused on depression and ADHD. I'm very hopeful and optimistic. Uh, Tyler, if you're listening, that's awesome. I'm happy to hear it. Uh, Pete, have you ever? This might be too personal, but have you ever like have you ever gone to therapy? Is that something you've ever like? If you don't have to answer that either, I know
No, 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 that's good.
that's pretty
Uh,
personal. So
I'm a pretty open person, so you'll find that over time I'll overshare information, but I'll try and dial it back when we're on these kind of streams. But no, yes, I definitely have been to therapy. My issue, which is an issue with myself, is that I never commit to the therapy. So I'll go to the first initial meeting and then I'll just kind of peter off and not organize any others. But it's definitely something that I need to try and do as well.
Yeah. No, I think therapy is it's very important, and I think it's still like underlooked at. That's not the correct like phrasing, but it's
Yeah.
I think it's something that a lot of people don't really
Once.
like seriously take into consideration. But I feel like a lot of people can benefit from it. About a year ago, and years prior, I had a therapist that I would see a lot, and every once in a while, they do video chats with me. Every now and then, I'm like, hey, could you fit me into like next week or something? And they'd be like, sure. Um, but no, the benefits of therapy are immaculate, and I like that they were able to transition from anger management therapy to normal therapy, which I'm assuming means that there was progress when it came to anger management, and that's something that they don't necessarily need to work on anymore. So, congratulations, Tyler.
Yeah, that's great. I if I was gonna go to therapy, it would probably be for the same thing. Not that I'm like explosive, but I do just internally get frustrated
Yeah,
constantly. I mean, just like especially with like work stuff, and I'll just be simmering under the surface, but like just smiling, I'm sure, with insane eyes, trying to smile through it
yeah,
and not seem as pissed off as I am. So I need to make that progress too.
yeah. I think mine, again, without going too deep into it, was a lot to do with like insecurity, uh,
Mm.
and just like my connections with people. It was something I always struggled with for a while, especially as a young adult. It was something that I was struggling with a lot. So that's what therapy looked like for me. um,
Well, I was listening to your episode with Dallas, and you guys were talking about like you were mentioning your challenges with like communication in terms of like responding to just digging into my armpit on stream.
I've been
Uh,
doing the same thing. I'm getting a little sweaty. So,
uh, just in terms of like answering people back when you get like notifications and stuff like that. And I felt that so deeply in my core of like, I struggle so much with communicating with people and like in a timely manner and stuff. Like I'll sit on messages for a really long time because notifications overwhelm me, and when they pile in too much, I'm like, how do I even address these? How do I tackle them? And which the answer is like one at a time and just fucking do it. But like,
yeah.
I'm so resistant to that for some reason.
No,
So yeah, I
I
mean,
feel you on that one. Yeah.
yeah, I was glad to like hear that from you because it does feel like when you're that kind of person, it feels like you're the only person doing that, and that you're like
You're the worst
people are
person in the
fed
world
up
for.
how
Yeah.
uncommunicative you are. Yeah, yeah. So it was nice hearing that somebody else is kind of in that same in the frame of mind of trying to move past that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely something I've always struggled with, and even today still do. I think I gave the example of how this person messaged me on Monday and I didn't get back to them on Friday. But then there's also, before sending that message on Friday, there's the battle of like, I'm already 5 days late. Do I even bother messaging them? Like, I want them to know that I still care and that I saw their message.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah,
is me messaging them 5 days later just gonna piss them off now? Like,
exactly. Yeah,
and that's
and
something I battle with a lot. And like, I get like Discord. I was actually talking to somebody that had on stream last night because they had messaged me like hours prior, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, Discord is just, and like how I was messaging you, and like Discord is something I'm really bad at checking. uh and so I was like, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, and I ended up not talking to them until they popped up in the stream, which I feel like feels even like a little more crummy to me. But I just didn't see their message. Or if I did, like, they, again, like, you can catch me at a bad time. Like, if I'm working, I don't like to have those notifications. If it, depending on the topic, this is like unrelated to last night's message. Like, depending on the topic, like, okay, I just can't get into this right now, and then I forget, or just stuff keeps popping up, or I'm overwhelmed.
yeah, yeah, and if it's somebody same exact way, and I hate to say this, but if it's somebody that obligations come frequently from them, I'll check their messages less frequently, just because
Yeah.
it's just so overwhelming to try and do that, and it's so fucking rude of me to do, and I understand, like I know that, and I'm sure like people are so sick of my like little messages of like, hey, so sorry about the delay here. um but yeah, I mean I keep using this phrase, but it is a journey of like trying to overcome that and just be a responsible person to and
Mm-hmm.
answer. So
Yeah, I think the other half of that battle is trying to reach out to people. Like they haven't messaged me, but also I haven't messaged them, kind of thing, and just trying to stay in touch with people. Like, personally, like with my family, I think I'm kind of seen as like the oh, Savian showed up to the one of the 6 family functions, or and I'm terrible with like keeping in touch with family. It's not that I don't care about them or
yeah,
anything, and this goes to friends too that are outside my immediate circle. It's just the whole, like, I don't know, I just go like, I get caught up in the day to day, but as always, it's not a good excuse because so does everyone. It's
yeah,
it's finding the time to let them know that you still care about them.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, I promise it's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's just I feel like I have so much going on, and there's already people that I haven't replied to, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I agree. I mean, same thing here. I mean, it's like it's I never want them to feel like it's a reflection on what they mean to me as a person,
Mm-hmm.
but I have no idea how to phrase that because actions speak louder than words. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I promise that's not where my headspace is at, even though it seems like that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I was just really glad that you had brought that up because it meant a lot to hear. That. It was validating to hear that somebody else
Yeah.
had that
It's
same
it's
experience.
it's really easy to think that, like, yeah, you're the only person that's in your life, that you're because you're doing it to them, so it feels like nobody else is doing it to anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, like, yeah. Did you was there anything you wanted to add on that, or do you want to read your little moment from some weeks back, or like a month now, I think.
Yeah, I can read a little moment. So I'll read it verbatim here. I said, I was recently asked to be a groomsman at a friend's wedding. This guy was my older brother's age growing up, but never let me feel like the little kid tagging along. He's been a good friend. It meant a lot to be asked. So in February, I went to Utah to see a lifelong friend get married. And he was actually, I think, a few years older than my older brother, who's 2 years older than me. So, I mean, like when you're growing up, 5 years, between like 2 and 5 years, feels like a substantial amount of time, or a substantial like age difference.
Yeah.
And once you hit like, I mean, I'm like 30 now, and I think about like 25-year-olds, and I'm like, that's not that much of a difference. But as you're getting, like when you're growing up, it feels
No, yeah,
substantial.
like, yeah, no, like I remember being like a freshman in high school, and I'd see like the juniors, and I'm like, wow, they're so they're so
Yes,
much
yeah,
more
exactly.
mature than me. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And so that's kind of what it was like. We would hang out, and he would be, considerably, I don't, not considerably, but in my mind, considerably older than me and more mature and more, ahead of things in life. And but he always treated me like I was, part of the friend group, like I was an equal and not like this annoying kid that was tagging along with his brother all the time,
hmm,
which meant a lot. I mean, they would pick on me like a lot,
of
but
course, yeah, it's standard.
we would play Call of Duty together, and they would just cheat constantly. And it was just, we didn't have internet at the time, so like they would come over to our house, and we would like live it. We didn't have high speed internet, so we would just play private matches. Uh, and When he would bring his Xbox over, it would be kind of like over LAN, I guess. And so we would separate the TVs out, and they one time put a mirror behind me so that they could keep turning around to see where I was on the
No
map.
way.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't realize until later on. I was like, how do you keep finding me? And then I turned around, and there was a fucking full-size mirror behind me.
That was
Um,
it. Was it to pick on you, or were you just that good?
no,
It's
no, I
it's so that
wasn't
it's
good
so they
at
need
all.
it's so
It
they
was
needed
just
to, they needed to
destroyed
nerf
me, yeah.
you.
No, no, it wasn't that. It was they were. They were just destroying me left and right. And my brother still loves to use explosives. I don't know if it's like a humiliation tactic or what, but like you'll just be innocently minding your own business, trying to find one of them on a map, and a rocket launcher will just come
I I was thinking like
soaring toward you.
getting killed by an RPG just feels so crappy because it's so easy. Like at least like with
Yeah,
a gun, you have to land your shots and everything, and I feel like there's skill to it. But I feel like with an RPG, it's just boom, anything in like the 5 foot
yeah.
radius done.
And it's so like insulting to get blown up by something like that and hear him over the mic just losing his shit, like laughing about it, like that
Yeah.
he got you. But a lot of fun too at the same time. So
But were there ever moments where like you were able to get them and you can laugh at them and be like ha 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 ha? Did you ever switch
very
it up on them? Like you pulled out an RPG? Like
Oh, I would always try. Yeah. I mean, they would still kick my ass. For a period of time when I was in college, I spent a lot of time playing the new like Modern Warfare,
hmm
and I played Gunfight. No, not Gunfight.
gun game?
No, it was Gunfight. Now that you say gun game, it was Gunfight.
Okay.
It was the like 2v2 or 3v3, and you get 6 rounds. Whoever gets
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
six
remember that
first
mode.
wins.
hmm
Love that. Still love that mode so much. My like college friends and I, we would team up and play, and that like added so much pressure because they were good and I needed to match.
hmm
And got I mean, when you're doing that, I mean, because you don't have the unlimited lives like you have technically in deathmatch. You have to be a lot more careful, and that
Makes you think
I
more.
think like yeah, it like honed my skills at the time. I'm nowhere close to they're kicking my ass again now because I haven't been playing that. But for a period of time, I was better than them and pissing them off because I was using the marksman rifle, and they were like, that gun pisses us off. Stop using that gun because it's a one shot, one kill.
Mm.
But they're back to kicking my ass again. So it was a nice little window of time where I was on top, but
Yeah.
not anymore.
Every that was bad. I was about to say every dog has its day, but that's not a that's not I don't think that's the right saying for that. Well heck yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
And so the wedding was nice. How was Utah? What was Utah like in February?
Utah is a shockingly ugly state. Well, I guess I should say Salt Lake is a shockingly like ugly region. By that I mean the mountains are beautiful, like absurdly beautiful. And when you're driving through them and stuff, they look really nice. But down in the like flats kind of area, it's and in Salt Lake City, it's so industrialized.
hmm
Like it looks like the SpongeBob Industrial Park, and I don't mean that like as an exaggeration. I think it just looks. So that was an insane crack, by the way.
Oh, could you hear that?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Both times. I didn't expect you to get the same level of crack on both turns.
Oh yeah, I
It's
have
impressive.
I have bubble wrap spine. So
I don't think I can do that. Felt like the right arm of this chair fell off at one point,
oh no,
so
that's not
I
good.
don't have it.
Yeah, sorry. I was getting stiff. That's my bad.
No, you're good. What was I thinking?
You're talking about like how it looks
Oh,
like
how ugly.
the SpongeBob industrial park.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a like really muddy gray there's like no greenery, barely any trees,
I can
like
I
all
can
that kind of
picture
stuff.
it. Yeah.
And then you have the like really beautiful mountains in the background, but that's when you're there, it's like that makes up for very little of the
Anything else
grossness of
going
what you're
on.
immediately surrounded by. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When I
So
picture it, I just picture like large like plots of just like cracked like sandstone, just like just
yeah,
cracked sand, just like for miles and miles, and then,
yeah,
and then you have like the rows of houses that have like their plant bushes maybe, but then it's just again everything else is just dead dirt.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That is kind of what I didn't get to go to the like desert area, and that's what I'm like when I go back, I want to go to the what is it like Moab kind of area and do like some hiking in the desert
hmm
region.
That
But
scares me. Hiking to
yeah,
the desert. I don't know. I feel like something bad would just happen to me. Like I I don't know, like oh, my water bottle fell out and I'm 20 miles from home. Like I don't know.
Now I have to drink my urine to get back.
Darn.
Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, that is a little scary. I'd much rather die in the desert than the ocean, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like the Life of Pi, that movie. I'm thinking of like how grim it seemed to. I'm sure that's not the most realistic depiction of what it's like to be on stuck in the ocean, but
Yeah,
yeah,
the ocean scares me. It's like
I,
my
f-
biggest fear.
I feel like once the heat exhaustion sets in, I could just kind of pass out peacefully and die that way. I feel like with the ocean, not only do you have the salt, but then you do got the sun, and I guess in the desert there'd be nothing for miles. But I feel like the ocean is just so it's intimidating to
Yeah,
just see all just nothing but the blue, and there's like an infinite amount of possibilities happening under you.
yeah, yeah. That's what scares me so much. Is like I have no idea what's going on underneath me, and it could be the most like sinister shit coming straight toward me, and I have no
Uh-huh.
idea about it.
If I had a
Um,
raft, I would feel better. But yeah, if I was just floating in the ocean, no raft or anything, I'd be, oh, my pants would be done. I that oh man, that might be a new fear unlocked. I never really had a fear of the ocean. I love the water, but if there was no land around and I had no boat, no raft, that would do it for me. I would go insane right
it's
there.
just about, like thinking about the people who have fallen off of like this is not pleasantly positive anymore at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, uh, thinking about the
Pleasantly
people that
positive
have
after hours.
um the people who've like fallen off of gotten drunk and fallen off of cruise ships
Hmm.
and have just found themselves like waiting in the middle of the ocean knowing that like oh maybe no one noticed that I fell off, they might not even be coming back for me, they might not, I might hit current and drift away if they even do turn around, and like just that stomach dropping feeling, the idea of that scares me so much of like shoulder up I'm gonna cook on like by the sun, and
Yeah.
I'm down below. I'm at threat of being eviscerated by
Anything and everything.
ocean creatures completely out of my. Yeah, yeah. So it's
I
there's
this is
just a
gonna
lot of side to that.
I think this is about to get really grim, but I think at that point, after like the 2 hour mark of just floating there, I think I would just swim down as much as I could and then just close my eyes.
Some water. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, okay, I'm 50 feet deep. I'm just gonna open my mouth. I don't know. All survival instincts out the window after 2 hours of just sitting there.
yeah. This is a really like grim. I'm gonna continue the grim. This will be the last bad thing that I say, and then I'll
Yeah,
go
yeah.
into my news story if that's okay, which is a positive
That's
thing about the
that's
ocean.
that's perfect. That's perfect.
So I was on the flight back from Utah. I flew Spirit there, and then I flew Frontier back, just the budget flying, because I don't have infinite money for those flights.
Of course.
Um, so like I was flying back Frontier, and we took like an hour flight from Salt Lake to Denver, Colorado, and it was the sketchiest freaking flight that I've ever been on. I mean, it was just I was sitting next to the wing, and I'm sure that this is built in the way it's supposed to be, but it was like waving the whole time,
The
and
wave was winging, or
the
or
wing was
or
waving.
I said
Um,
winging. The what did I say? The wave was winging. My bad.
and like we kept dipping down, and I don't know what we were doing, but we kept like the plane felt like it was doing
Yeah.
this, like, and so we would do a hard dip, and everybody would grip the seat in front of them,
Yeah.
and then we would stabilize back out. But it was constant turbulence for the entire hour. I was sitting next to a mother, and her daughter was sitting in the row in front of us. And her daughter, before the flight took off, was like, "I'm really afraid of flying." And so the whole time, the mom was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because it just seemed so treacherous. And
Yeah.
then once the flight landed, the airline crew got on the mic, and they were like, "Whoo!" just like acknowledging that it was a super sketchy flight.
Yeah, that doesn't sound pleasant at all. Oh my, I've
Yeah,
never been on a plane, and hearing that just makes me not want to get on a plane even more now.
I've never had that experience on any other plane. All of the other ones have been super stable feeling, and like I was looking it up. Apparently, the last like big flight crash in the U.S. hasn't happened for like 10 years. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that makes me feel more confident or less confident that I could be the like the
You're
10-year
the one.
anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But so like what? I mean, relating that to ocean, I had a really messed up thought. I don't know if I can curse on this. I'm sure I already have.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
I had a really messed up thought as we were like during one of the dips. Like my hands were super sweaty, and I was just gripping my seat, and I was thinking because I just don't like the feeling of falling in general. And in
Mhm.
my head, I was like, "This is why I don't like that feeling because I was destined to die in this fucking plane." But I was thinking to myself about the like that Titan uh submarine that went down, and
Oh
they got
no.
like they just got
Yeah.
like I'm not trying to be insensitive about it because people lost their lives, but they got deleted basically. Like it was such a quick
It's not funny. I just the
thing. It's
term.
not
the,
no, no
it's
they
just the
just
word.
it was such a quick action that
Yeah.
happened because of the pressure. And I was
Hmm.
thinking like that's so terrifying, and it got so much like news and notoriety about what a scary situation that is. And I'm thinking like I at that moment I was like I would much rather be in that situation where I'm like maybe blissfully unaware that the end is coming than know that I'm gonna fall out of the sky
Yeah.
and be totally aware that it's happening at the time. So
I think
I don't
yeah,
know. It was just
that's
a
the
messed up thought that
yeah.
I
No.
had.
Yeah, that falls on like the whole I've heard conversation. Again, the last grim bit is like, do you want to die just like blissfully ignorant, or like do you want to die scared kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah. I'll go
um,
blissfully ignorant. I'm
yeah. I was I was actually I didn't know this about planes, and this could be a little bit of motivation for anybody going through tough times. But planes meet their maximum, vertical potential going into the wind, like head against the wind. So like
really
planes don't take off with the wind; they take off against the wind because they want the most air going against the wings. And
okay.
I never really like knew that about like aerodynamics, because
Yeah, no.
the way that like a wing works is it takes air longer to travel over the top of a wing than it does under. Like the bottom of a wing is usually just like nice and flat, while the top has that curve that creates the distance.
Yeah.
And so what it does is it creates an area of low pressure because air, like fluid dynamics talks about gases, because gas tends to move like a liquid. And so like the air wants to stay as like one piece, and so it creates an area of low pressure at the top of the wing, and it makes the air underneath want to rise to fill that low pressure, which is what pushes the plane up.
Mm,
And
okay.
I guess you want the most. I don't know why I just got into that. I think it's because I just learned about it, so I thought it's just so interesting. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
sometimes
I didn't know
those
that. I never knew how planes really worked. I was like, oh, you get speed and you take off.
yeah.
I never really thought about what the science was behind that.
But what's interesting is that like on the second flight back, it was supposed to be like a 4.5 hour flight from Denver to the East Coast. I won't dox myself, even though I've done it plenty of times on our stream. But
Yeah.
and they got on the intercom, and they were like, "All right, everyone, we're looking at about a 2.5 hour flight back." And I looked at the guy who was sitting next to me, who was also this guy from Roanoke that I didn't know, but we like introduced ourselves, and we were both like 2.5 hours. Like it took us 4.5 to get out here. And someone overheard us talking, and they said, because of the trade winds, it'll push you way faster. And now in my head, I was thinking the trade winds were going with us and pushing us ahead. But now that
Mhm.
you say that, I'm wondering if we were going against the trade winds and making more progress that way. I have no idea how it works, but
Mhm.
that's interesting
In,
stuff. Now I'm
in
gonna have to go
terms
down
of
a rabbit hole.
speed, I have no idea whether you get more speed, with or against. But I know just in terms
Yeah.
of like vertical takeoff, you want the wind against you, rather
Okay.
than with you. And I always would have just assumed you want less air resistance, but actually you want more because it's the air resistance keeping you in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, heck yeah.
I
You said
can.
you had a news story related to. We're about an hour and a half in. Are you still good?
Yeah. You cut me
Okay.
off anytime though.
No, I listen. I
I'm
could do
kind of
this all day.
rattling on right
I
now.
could
Okay.
do this all day. So you let me know when it's getting too far for you.
Okay. Okay.
We might have
Um,
to take an actual bathroom break though at some point.
that works.
Yeah.
So yeah, this article, this first one that I have is about the coral reefs. So there was a group that did a study about some things that they're implementing at the Mars Coral Reef Restoration Program in Indonesia, and apparently they can regrow the dead reefs there in 4 years, which is nice because like I mean I feel like the past 10 years I've been reading articles about how the reef in Australia, what the Great Coral Reef
Mm-hmm.
is disappearing by X% every year. So now it sounds like we can grow that back, which was supposed to take a long time
Yeah.
to be able to do. But
Is it
so
because like it's bleaching that happens to the like lets you know that they're dead, right? It's when they get white, right?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
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 So the article said that one of the reasons why they can't grow back is because once they're bleached and dead, they take up like the dead body of the coral is in the way for new coral to grow.
Hmm.
And so
Okay. Yeah.
this system, I think, clears out the dead and gives more room for new coral to grow.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I love to hear that. Yeah, I remember like that was like a big kind of, and it's important. I'm saying doomsday, but like that it is the coral reefs are important. But I remember like that just being plastered all over the news, like, and it was making like every headline on every every news site was
Yeah.
our coral reefs are dying, kind of thing.
Like yeah,
So,
that
and
bleak like
you never hear too much about what's being done to help that either. So
yeah.
it's nice. It's nice to hear that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so much of the news is negative just by nature, just because that's what people tend to click on. So it's nice to hear that we're able to reverse one of those bigger negative news pieces from
Mm-hmm.
recent years.
Yeah.
And they're
And
doing it in a way that doesn't involve like throwing tires into the ocean, which was their first idea.
wait, what?
Years ago, they tried to replace the reef, like in terms of like habitat for animals, by throwing bits and pieces or full like tires into the ocean, and ended up doing like colossal ecological damage to that area because of that. I
I
don't know
want to
what the
talk to the person who came up with that idea. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I understand how all that works, but I just I feel like
yeah.
inherently that feels like something
It
that
just
wouldn't
sounds
work.
like a
Yeah,
bad idea. Let's
yeah,
just
just
throw
yeah,
trash in the ocean. Would that work? Like,
yeah, because we haven't been doing that enough already. Let's just go put some rubber in there in the ocean too. We already got the plastics and everything. Come on, let's just throw
yeah.
some rubber in there.
And I'm sure there's like,
It's
I mean, all tires have those like really thin pieces of like metal wire too to like hold them
true.
together. I'm sure that's
Yeah,
great for the fish. I mean, they probably love that.
it's probably delicious. Yeah.
Yeah,
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 no, and I don't know how well tires biodegrade because I feel like I go into the woods and I see a random tire from like the 1950s in there
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
So I don't know. Well, I'm glad that we definitely came up with a better plan than tire plan.
yeah. So there's a picture of them putting it down, and it looks like this like a series of wires in a. It's not mesh. I don't know how to describe it if I'm being honest, but it looks like an intricate little system they've got going on to regrow these.
No heck yeah.
Fun stuff. It'd be cool to
And
be
this is something
developer.
this is something that like they are implementing, or something that they just kind of discovered
It
and they
looks
hope
like
to implement.
it looks like they had some success with one series of growth, and then they're looking at replicating it
Okay.
more wide. So,
Have you ever
um,
been to a coral reef?
no, I haven't.
Have you ever been to
Never
like a
been.
like a clear water, like just freshwater body or anything like that, like a spring?
Oh no, I haven't been to. I've been to like beaches on trips that were like ocean beaches that were clear,
Mm,
um,
okay.
but never like fresh water. For my brother's wedding, he got married on like on a cruise, and we went to this like private beach that I think that they had found out about, and the water was super clear, and it was just us on the beach wherever we had ended up. And I was
Hmm.
so nervous about it. Like I like other people to be around because there are more bodies in the water splashing around,
Yeah.
scaring the scary fish away. But it was just the
No,
three of us.
it's more likely that you won't get eaten compared to the other people.
That was the other half of that. I wasn't gonna word that out loud, but
Eh.
uh, but yeah, so that's the only time. Have you been to a freshwater one?
Yes, I've never seen like clear water in the ocean, which would be really really sick. But yeah, here in Florida, there's like a spring up north, and yeah, it was beautiful. It had like not seaweed because it's freshwater, but it just had like these like just freshwater weeds, just like floating to the top, and you can see all of it perfectly and beautifully. And they had like scuba divers going in, which now thinking back to it, they didn't want you getting in the stream that led to the freshwater spring because of alligators. Because I'm in Florida, of course, and so I'm just thinking like, what's stopping an alligator from just going down the stream? I think there might
Yeah,
have been something there to like a fence or a gate or something. But also I know that they had like there's fish and stuff swimming all around you, so I don't think that really apply. I don't know, but but either way, yeah, a freshwater spring. They're pretty cool. They're really cold, actually. I thought it was gonna be warm. No, they're
yeah,
they're freezing. At least the one that I went to was dog cold. I don't know.
yeah. I
Yeah.
guess that kind of makes sense. Um, just thinking about it coming from underground.
Hmm.
Although you said that there was a stream up top that was also leading into it, so
Yeah, it had like a creek, not like a. It was actually pretty like big. So I don't know if creek would like, but it's too small to be a river. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I
yeah.
guess a creek would be the correct term. But yeah, it had like a good body of water flowing into it, and I don't think does a spring have to be coming from underground? Just because I'm thinking like here in Florida, there's not too much like elevation
Oh, right.
for. So I don't know how that works. I don't know how springs work. So
I thought that was the thing, was that springs are like a source from underwater that's pushing up, or from underground that's pushing upward. But I could totally, I mean, I'm basing this on
there might be
10
multiple
years
like
ago. I went to high school and did not pay
terms.
attention in science. So,
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it worked, but yeah, I do remember there being like a creek that led into the spring.
okay.
Yeah. Well, heck yeah, that was your news article.
Yeah.
Did do you just want to like? I know you had a couple. We could just piggyback. I can read mine, and if you wanna, we could piggyback or ping pong back and forth. Not piggyback, ping pong. And
Okay.
yeah, if whenever we want to stop, we can.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So, the one that I have here is from the optimistdaily.com, and the headline reads: Inmates celebrate first degrees earned through Yale and University of New Haven initiative. And the breakdown of the article is basically you have these incarcerated folks who have spent uh, it talks about one specific individual, but just like to kind of cover the whole program is you have these inmates uh, who are taking these like college courses in prison, and what they're seeing just from like research, they don't necessarily quote where the research comes from, so I can't give a source to that, but they're saying like research shows that when you're offering like higher education to people that are incarcerated, um,
Right.
that they see they see an improvement in like behavioral problems while they're in prison, as well as once they leave and like they're reintroduced into society. They see a correlation of the people who have taken those higher education courses and have gotten degrees. They see an improvement of like they're not going back to jail. They're seeing like less crime from these individuals, like no crime. Like they're getting jobs in their respective fields like with their degrees instead, and they're starting a new life. And
Yeah.
and one of the a quote that I liked from the inmate that they kind of focus on in this article, is he talks about how when you're in the prison, it feels like you're kind of going when you go into these classes, it feels like you're stepping into a campus more than you're in a
Right.
jail. And I think
Yeah.
and I haven't been to prison, but I can imagine that is like a nice and comforting change in feeling as compared to, you know,
The
honestly
feeling
just
of confinement and
exactly. And I'm
yeah,
sure like the feeling of like, I'm sure it gives like a feeling of purpose. And
yeah,
that is actually something that it states here, and it makes not only are you giving the inmates second chances, but they can feel that, and they're like I'm doing this to have a better life on the outside. While sometimes I can imagine while you're in there, if you're doing nothing, you're just kind of like, well, I'm here, I'll get out one day, and and that's it. I don't know like what programs they have inside of a prison to prepare you for being reintroduced into society, but I feel like a higher education is that's a big one. That's an important one that makes you, because I love school. I haven't gotten a degree yet, but I, don't know,
yeah,
I think school's a good thing, and giving these inmates
yeah, yeah,
hope for the life outside of prison, and giving them again
yeah.
a sense of purpose once they get out.
That's awesome. That makes me think of like, I mean, you hear about other countries outside of the U.S. and they have prison programs that sound kind of like that, where it, like I've watched TikToks where it almost sounds like they're at like a resort kind of, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's all about like rehabilitation and preparing them to not be put in the positions that they were put in that required them to create to commit like a certain crime for
Hmm.
certain people. I mean, for there are other crimes
Of
that
course.
are
Yeah,
inexcusable, of course,
of course. But yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, for you know certain crimes, I mean,
This inmate here
I
in the
feel like we could,
article was locked up for 6 years for like drinking and driving, which is something that can easily be worked on. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Like, I don't want to
yeah,
say easily, but it's something that can be prevented in the future, kind of thing.
yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's like deserving of like, you don't deserve a future, kind of thing.
I feel like we have such a like a retribution style, like we want revenge, or we want to like punishment is such a huge part of our system,
Yeah.
and less a part of like building on that rehabilitation aspect of it and preparing them to kind of re-enter the world and stuff like that. That we
Hmm.
get lost and what a prison is supposed to be for. Um,
That is true. I'm curious to know like what like the number is for the amount of crimes that are committed by people who have already committed a previous crime.
that's a good
and
question.
and
Yeah,
this program, showing that when they're offered this program and they do get these degrees, that they're far less likely to be committing another crime.
yeah,
And so I wonder if that would like, I'm sure that has some kind of impact on just crime rates in general, because I know people personally that have been to jail, they get out, or they've already been to jail twice or three times, and they talk about it, and then they're going off and doing the same stuff again. And it's because we don't give them the tools, and yeah, we don't give them the tools to be better, or
yeah,
or,
yeah.
or the
We just
or
kind
the
of,
yeah. Just because you get out doesn't mean you have the opportunity to be, if you're still being put in the same situations that you had before. Like I know a lot of stuff happens because of like financial issues, and I don't know, I feel like with it's just a good way to get the ball rolling for people once they leave.
yeah, for like further or for success
Yeah,
afterwards,
yeah,
but
setting them up,
instead of
setting them up for
looping back into
success.
the system.
Yeah.
uh yeah, I mean, because like when you think about like prison, and I obviously I'm not an expert at this, I'm just kind of taking like guesses, but you're
Hmm.
taking people who maybe aren't repeat offenders and you're putting them in an extremely toxic environment filled with other offenders that they're networking with essentially,
Yeah.
and putting them in situations like, I don't want to say dangerous, because I've never been to prison, so I don't know what the actual reality of it is, but I've like read threads on Reddit and stuff of people saying like it's Ask Reddit, and they're like, going to prison, what do I need to know? And it's like, when you get there, like, you're gonna get picked on immediately, and you need to start that fight and finish it. And it's like stuff like that. It's like
Ugh, yeah.
you have like prison rules and stuff like that, and it's like it just sounds like a not positive reformation.
It doesn't
kind
sound
of
like a
program.
safe space
Yeah, exactly.
for
It just sounds like
anything
you're
sometimes.
kind of taking those people and making sure that they're criminals later on.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, that might be not to get conspiracy theory centered here, but that might be part of we have such a for-profit prison system.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah.
From what I've read, a lot of prisons have quotas. So like they create a budget just like any other business or organization at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't fill that budget, then they have to give it back. And so they'll work harder to fill the beds basically in the prisons so that they meet the budget that they created that year and don't have to return any money and then have their budget lowered for the next year, which just means that we're encouraging more people to go to prison so that we're uplifting that system, which is
I'm sure there's a plethora of reasons why the U.S. has one of the highest incarceration rates on the planet.
yeah.
Yeah. Like sure, you can give our size and our population and everything, but there is the whole debate of like, a lot of prisons are privately owned and for profit, which when I think about that just sounds insane. A for-profit prison, like a for-profit judicial system. I don't know. That doesn't sound very nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
and you do hear these other countries where it's like, yeah, like if you get locked up in Finland, you're basically on a vacation. But like they're not encouraging people to get locked up. It's just once you are given a chance to be better, and it seems more human, and
it seems like
we're working for people and not against them, kind of thing. Like again, there like as you said, there's some crimes where no, you're in there, you're done.
yeah.
But there's other moments where it's like, no, we need to make sure that we are supporting these people, so once they're put back into society, they're not repeating the same things again. And
yeah, I agree. That's it would be great if we could move in that direction as a country. I think that we get stuck sometimes, and I guess I just mentioned that on the kind of like revenge aspect of it, or we see like an innovative program and we don't immediately see the benefit behind it. Like
we just see that they don't deserve that kind of. I hear a lot of that, like they don't deserve college opportunities, and then people are like, well, I don't get college for being a normal law-abiding citizen, doing my taxes and whatnot, and so like why should they get an opportunity for that?
That's such a self-centered approach too. I mean, it's the same thing with student loans. People go, I don't pay my student loans. It's like, okay, do you want like your awards in the mail? So let's knock it off.
It's like just like I have to suffer, so everybody should have to suffer, kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Or I don't benefit for this, so nobody should benefit. Kind of. It is very selfish.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I get it. Like you got to look out for yourself, but also you need to be able to look outside of yourself at the same time. So and realize you're not the only person on the planet. And not everything is going to be built for you. You're not everything is for your benefit, unfortunately. That's just how life is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, that kind of concludes my article. Just one thing to note is there's 15 schools. I don't know how many prisons are in this program, but there's 15 schools that are in this program. So that's nice to hear.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's I'm surprised to hear that Yale is one of them.
I think that's kind of what caught my eye. I was like, oh, like Yale, that's one of these schools that you hear. So, yeah.
Good on them for committing to that. My next article is the title is staff at a Virginia Wildlife Center pretend to be red foxes as they care for an orphaned kit. I guess. It is like the
so sweet.
Yeah. It's like the baby name of a fox, I guess. I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah. Foxes are kits. Yeah.
That's brand new news to me.
Yeah.
But they have these like fantastic Mr. Fox looking masks on as they're working on them, and in my head, like when I read that, I was like, it's probably just to comfort them or something like that. And it's maybe more novelty than anything, because the like, what are they even recognizing and like
Mm-hmm.
visually? But apparently, it's to make sure that you don't imprint on them as they're younger. So
Oh
they're
yeah,
it's
yeah,
easier to reintroduce them back into the wildlife if humans haven't like imprinted on them. So they don't
yeah.
talk when they're wearing the masks and stuff like that. They're dead silent, and they're trying to avoid seeming like humans, I guess.
Interesting.
Which is
I wonder how well that is there in the article. Does it mention how well that works?
it doesn't. It just says that's their goal.
I would love to get a follow up on that one day. I'll have
Yeah,
to
that would be
follow
cool.
that because as for when you're first mentioning, I'm imagining like they're in like a red fox suit and they're on all fours walking up to the
They've
crawling
got
up
their
to
furry
the
suits to
fox.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And they're like doing like fox laughs around each other and
yeah, the
that's
little
what I was.
yeah,
But no, that like the way you describe that just like it sounds like it makes sense, and because you do hear that a lot about animals getting reintroduced and then just not knowing what to do with themselves because they've just bonded so much with humans, and
yeah.
so they just end up showing up at whatever house they were chilling at for a while, like, oh,
Yeah, they just go back.
I rehabbed this or I fostered, I don't know, not fostered, but I rehabbed this fox, and then I let it go, and then it won't leave the porch,
It
or
doesn't
it
know how to
died,
hunt. It
or
doesn't know how
yeah,
to
or it
yeah.
died because it didn't know how to hunt or or defend itself from other predators and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a
That's
new so now if I'm at the zoo and I see people wearing a fox mask, I won't judge them. I'll be like, oh no, that's for the animal.
yeah. They're helping the kits.
Yeah. No, I like that story. I love that. Have you ever been to a zoo?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been to. I'm always like nervous to say whether I enjoy zoos and aquariums or not, because like I don't know if that. I haven't done any research into whether they're good for the. I mean, it's captivity basically. So,
Yeah,
but
I
then
know
again,
zoos are, but all the aquarium zoos are very controversial
yeah.
of
But
late.
some zoos do like conservation work. So are
Mm,
they? How much are they helping versus hurting? All that kind of stuff. So.
true.
But I do
Yeah.
really enjoy a good zoo and an aquarium, if I'm being honest, especially
Yeah.
aquariums.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to say that I support zoos and aquariums. Like because but also like again you mentioned they do have a lot of these conservation efforts and educational efforts. But then again I'm not going to be the one to know what, you know, the positive versus the negative and where they weigh. But
Yeah,
it is nice getting to see and learn about that specific wildlife they're in captivity, but about those animals. And I know when I go to the zoos, like I do take a lot of time to like read, like a lot of like they have like those little like boards that give you like the history and the
yeah,
knowledge of the animal, and like and you'll have people speaking like what these animals do when they are in the wild and how they live and how they hunt and fight and survive. And
right.
I know that's not everybody's, when they go to the zoo they're like, oh, meerkat, and then they keep going like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh
But yeah, that aspect is really cool of it. Like the educational aspect of it and the
mhm.
appreciation that you get from going to a zoo and like understanding the animals and their needs and stuff like that,
Yeah,
I
I think
think is a huge
that's
part of it.
yeah, that's definitely something that can't be overlooked, is the educational and the appreciation part of it. I was talking to who's someone who is or was currently in our chat right now, Willow, is that they're they're in the UK, so their high school isn't called high school, but like their high school equivalent, they had a farm. uh that just made me think about, like, I wonder what that would do for a lot more people if they, because I unfortunately I run into a lot of individuals that don't have an appreciation for life outside of humans. you know,
Sure. Yeah.
like they see it, like they see a snake on the road and they're like, I'm gonna run over it. You know, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes me wonder if people grew up around animals, like around farms and whatnot, if they would have a better appreciation for animal life. And so I think that's a very important aspect of, like, I don't know if a giraffe should be locked up. I'm not going to be the one to debate that right now because I'm not knowledgeable enough. But if this will get people out here to learn from it, and maybe even later on support initiatives that go to support the the giraffes that are out there that are wild, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Tiger King? That whole
No.
thing?
No. I'll
I feel
never
like that's the
financially
bad
recover
side.
from this.
Yeah. That all is the bad side of things. Like
Oh,
I
of
trust
course,
that,
yeah.
like,
No, I would not want, like, I would never support that in a million
yeah,
years.
yeah. It
If
was
I knew
entertaining to
that,
watch, but yeah.
of course, but if I knew my local zoo was doing stuff like that, I would never. I would want that shut down and those animals taken somewhere where they belong. You know.
Yeah. There's a part where someone's arm gets like chewed off in that show. And they're just like a staff member at one of the places. Just the idea of going to work. You're just going to work, it's a normal day, and then you walk out of work that day and you're one less body part. That's just crazy to me.
No,
It
thank
was
you.
scary to me, yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Man, I know that stuff like that happens even just like in like conservation places like over in like in Africa. Like there's a lot of like wildlife conservation. Very close word to conversation. Conservation, and I know like a lot of injuries that you don't necessarily hear about, but some you do happen over there too. But it's a part of working with nature.
Your conservation conversation thing makes me think of, like, at work, I write the word underserved a lot, underserved. But if I
Uh-huh.
miss that one important letter, I turn it into undeserved.
Undeserved.
I am so scared of that every time where I'm talking about communities that are more vulnerable to like food insecurity and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
this undeserved community, like, I have to be very careful with that word.
That would not look good. Whoever's reviewing that or reading that,
Yeah,
they're like, oh wow,
undeserved.
yeah, Pete,
No
he's
chance I'm
he's
giving
very
them
he's
money.
very opinionated about this community here. Oh man. Well, yeah, you haven't made that mistake though yet, right?
No, but I heard somebody. So I was at a meeting this week at a different organization, and it was like a meeting where we pulled together a lot of different nonprofits. And I heard someone say the word undeserved instead of underserved when they
Yeah.
were meaning underserved, and it just reinforced in my head of like, I have to be really careful with that.
Oh,
That's
anybody
it
with dyslexia
sounds.
reading that, oh man.
Yeah, I don't. I think
Yeah.
most reasonable people would be like, I know what they meant, but
Yeah.
there are unreasonable people in this world. They're
Like,
the
what do
ones
you
that scare.
mean undeserved? It's like, no, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
what I meant.
Clearly,
Yeah.
that's not what I meant. Yeah.
Use a little bit of common sense, please.
Yeah.
um.
I have
Yeah.
one last news article here if you want to hear it.
Yes,
It's
please,
it's
please
very
do.
small. It's just that the IRS is launching a free tax filing program in 12 pilot states. That's
Is
good,
Florida
just
one of them?
because there was a list. Let me look.
I'm just tired of them knowing how much I owe, but won't tell me.
The list is Arizona, California, Florida, Massachusetts,
Let's go.
Nevada, New Hampshire, New York, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington State, and Wyoming. Alaska was originally included, but is no longer part of the pilot.
Poor
I feel like
Alaska.
there's not like, yeah, I know there's not a good description of what happened there. They were like, no, you're out.
You're
Um,
done.
yeah. Uh, but that's just good because, like, apparently, from what I'm reading online, so like take this with a grain of salt because I'm not an expert. I'm just conveying conversations that I've
Of
read.
course. I think that's
But
for the whole show. When we're covering topics, we are not
yeah,
experts.
yeah,
We're just taking prior knowledge and what we read and going with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there apparently, like, the government knows how much you need to file for,
Mhm.
but the H&R Block and TurboTax and stuff have lobbied so hard for that process to be done through them, through a third party, that it makes it so much harder on just standard citizens because you have to do this like roundabout way of filing your taxes.
Yeah, you got your 1099s and your W2s and
Yeah,
yeah.
you wouldn't have to do that if TurboTax and H&R Block would fuck off essentially. So
Just yeah.
so I feel like this program is kind of a first step in getting there, of establishing like a government-led program of filing your taxes
Mhm.
that would potentially be easier and cheaper on citizens. And I know this is very U.S. centered, so
Of course,
sorry
but
to
no,
any,
I
any
would like
international
something like
viewers.
that because I've started I've started doing more work that involves 1099s, which gets a lot more complicated in terms of filing taxes. At least with a W
Yeah.
2, you're just kind of boop 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 just inputting. But with a 1099, depending on like, and I got a bunch of different sources for these 1099s, it gets a little more like, and then I need these companies to send me the 1099s, and some I haven't received some. Like, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't file my taxes last year, and I haven't filed mine this year yet, which is bad. IRS, you will get your money. Uh, but I know they know how much I owe. Like, I know that's a thing. So I
Do you think you
wish,
owe anything?
because I did more 1099 work than I did W2 work, I'm sure that I
Mm,
owe. My W2 job, I made sure that they did take more taxes out so that I would end up owing less. But of
yeah.
course, like a 1099, I don't pay the taxes until it comes filing season.
Right.
So I'm sure that I do, and I've just been waiting for a letter in the mail for like, hey, you owe this much, give this, or we're gonna charge this interest. So I just know, because I know that they'll do that eventually. Either that, or they'll come and take me to jail. But it's so frustrating to like try to get my 1099s from these certain jobs, and so
Yeah.
I wish there was a way where it's like, hey, we know how much you made, give us this, or we know how much you
Yeah.
made, here you go, hey, this is how much we give you. uh
Yeah.
because they
Just
do know.
a report at the end of the year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, or they just send you a check that you don't even have to file. Like, okay, thanks for, these, you
Hmm.
know, this kind of
And,
tax. I guess if you're doing 1099s, that wouldn't be possible. But for like W2, anybody just doing a W2
yeah.
and they've paid over their amount in taxes and they need a refund, just send the check. Don't even like make me file anything. If you
Mhm.
know how much it's going to be.
And even with the 1099s, like they still know that I made that money because of everything that's tied to my social security and the banks and everything. Like they still know that I've received that money. I'm not
Yeah.
laundering it, so they they know that I have that I got that money.
Yeah.
And I think there should be a period where if you want to do like your whole deductibles and your tax write-offs, there's a period to do that. But besides that, I don't want to have to do the whole W2 thing, and like you guys know how much you're gonna send me. And so
Yeah.
if I don't feel like doing the whole deductible thing, which again, when I'm on TurboTax, I usually just skip all that because I don't have any deductibles, I don't have any tax write-offs to add. So
Yeah.
I don't fall under a specific bracket to be getting this deductible and whatever, or so I don't even, deductible is probably the wrong word, but
I
uh
don't know what these words mean, if I'm being honest.
yeah, but but like I'm not doing anything special. I'm just telling you how much I made and how much I paid you, which you already know. So that is
Yeah.
good to hear. And if that's in Florida, I can't wait to utilize that.
It's called the direct file pilot.
Is this something that's already like, it's like, so it's already been launched in these states?
It's
I might, I might,
now
I might,
fully open
I'm gonna
in
have to
12
write this.
pilot
I'm gonna have
states.
to write this down since Florida. What's it called? Direct file? Is that what you said?
Yes, yeah. And they're hoping that they get at least 100,000 people utilizing it.
They'll get me. They'll get
Yeah.
me.
It says it focuses on simple tax situations. They put that in quotes.
Yeah.
Oh, and there is a Spanish language version that opens. When was this published? March 12th. So it should be already be open
Nice.
for Spanish speaking.
Inclusivity is important,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to government stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because unfortunately, it is very important that you do it. So you don't want any restrictions, especially when it comes to language. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
I remember when I was a manager at Starbucks, I had two employees that didn't understand the rhetoric on their, I guess it's your W4 that you file at when you first start a job, so they know how much taxes you want taken out.
Yeah.
And so I think they ended up clicking where like they don't want any taxes taken out, but that's not what they wanted. So then once they did file their W2, it came out like you owe the IRS $2,000, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like
That's like
these poor high schoolers fresh out of school or still in school did not know nothing about that.
Yeah, well, it's so confusing. Even like reading the instructions on the W4, they're like, oh, if you have X amount of like exceptions or dependents, blah blah blah.
Tax
put it there.
exceptions. That's what I was thinking of instead of deductibles. Yeah.
And they don't describe what it is, so you're just like, well, fucking, I guess good luck to me on guessing, on assuming what these terms mean.
And that's assuming you have a parent that can maybe help you, but then they need to know that. I know a lot of parents that don't necessarily understand any of this. It's like, oh, I just put that last year. It's like, oh, that you sound confident.
Yeah. I've filled out a lot of those for a lot of different jobs, and it never fails. Every time I start a new job, I shit my pants a little bit sitting there trying to figure out, trying to look
Do I
like I
claim
know how to
myself
fill
or?
out come out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, the process is far from simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Hopefully, that's something that like turns out to be a working and beneficial thing, because that's something that I know that I personally would benefit from, and I know a lot of people would benefit from it. So
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Hopefully,
yeah, because I used to
hopefully
be
they
like
kind of build upon
TurboTax
that.
is the best because they make the process so simple, but it comes to find out, no, they don't. No,
Yeah.
they're not.
TurboTax is what I use, and they're such little scumbags about how they do it, because they're like, oh, this is the free version, and you fill it out, and they're like, just kidding, it was like actually like $60,
Yeah,
and then they have a secret, actually free version that you have to find in some sideways way and like click a specific link for,
I have
and then it will
managed to
start.
find it every time, but it is, you are right. It is, and they're constantly like every other page trying to get you to pay for something.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, it's like get a
Minecraft.
more in-depth look into your tax return, blah blah blah,
Yeah,
or for $5 you can have a tax expert, blah blah blah, and it's like, bro, I'm already getting money taken away from me. Could you just?
yeah, yeah. They're
I
gonna
don't
look at
want.
it and be like, actually, you owe more.
Yeah,
I don't want anybody to look at it any closer. Just send me my money.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, okay, well, that is good news. Personally, I find that to be good news, and I hope it works out. Uh, they will have a, I'm not gonna say customer because you said free, but they will have a user out of me.
Yeah.
I wrote it down, so I will be looking into that.
Well, I hope that doesn't somehow screw you over. I hope I didn't give you like a bad advice. I don't know anything else about this other than the article that I read, so I assume no responsibility for anybody following you.
I'm already losing money, so I it can't get worse than that. But heck yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
I think I do have another article, but I think we're gonna end it there, and
Okay.
I'll carry this article over into my next week's show, just because I have to use the bathroom so bad, and we've already went over the 2 hour mark, which I'm perfectly fine with. This has been wonderful, Pete. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy
Thank
to
you
be. I was happy to be
so much for
invited.
this. Of course, yeah. No, I I I knew you'd be perfect for the show. Just for the little bit that I've gotten to talk and interact with you, and I've watched the streams that you and Matt are in, and I'm just like, Pete would be perfect for this, and I'm glad, not to go too much into like your work, but you shared with me the little bit that you've done, when it came to like the news thing for your job or whatever. You know, I'm talking about the positivity thing.
Oh, about having like a new staff member.
Yeah, and how you were like sharing like positive, things again,
Oh
not to
yes,
get.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
The
it made
positive
me really
space on that.
excited, more excited to have you on,
Well,
because
thank you.
you see the light, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that makes me excited. So yeah,
yeah.
well,
I was inspired, and I don't know necessarily that they have noticed that is on there and available for them, but uh,
it's got to count some
hopefully,
way.
yeah, hopefully it provides some. Maybe they'll find it one day when they really need it.
Yeah, yeah, and even then, uh, I think it also just reflects on you, in a good way,
Thank
and
you.
and maybe as you're looking for these things, or as you're doing it, it's probably benefiting you in a way that you might not even be thinking about.
It's nice. Yeah.
Even though you're doing it for them, I'm sure it's benefiting you, and maybe in a conscious way or a conscious way.
Very quick context. I won't over explain this, but just essentially, like, I created a space for my new team member, who mentioned in their interview that they are, I mean, not, they just don't like a lot of negativity necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Things can get really busy at our work, so I just put a space where there are positive article links there.
Yeah.
Very, I mean, not like a huge thing, huge effort, and a little bit of selfishness on my part, just because it's nice to carve out time during the week to try and find those articles. So
I would call
it's
that selfish.
a benefit
It's a good selfishness, I guess.
yeah, a mutual benefit there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and totally inspired by your show here. I just did not have that thought until I was watching. So
Well,
thank you.
I
Thanks for creating this positive space.
Of course, of course. And I know at certain aspects of today's show, we might have gotten to a couple topics that were a little less than
Yeah, sorry about that.
no, but I had a good time talking about them though. It was fun.
Good.
I had so much fun having you on here, and I look forward to having you on again one day. So
Great. I had a good time doing it.
of course, yes. And so we are ending the show, but to anybody who is listening, there is going to be, we're hosting this live, but of course there will be a video version on YouTube, as well as you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and anywhere that you might get your podcast, Deezer. Anywhere that you may listen to your podcast, you can find us there. And if you join the Savvy Society, you too can put in news articles and or pleasant moments throughout your week that I and my guest on the show will read out. So definitely do that. Pete, one last time, thank you so much for being on. It was wonderful. So
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it was a great time. Thanks for letting me yap for 2 hours.
Of course. Thank you for letting me do the same. If you wanna stay in the call, I'm just gonna end things out here really quick. But if you just want to stay in the call for a moment, yeah. So again, everybody, thank you for being here so much. And I'll see you in the next one. Might be going live later. I'm not 100%, but yeah, have a good one and I'll see you later. Bye.